Hello students, welcome to another episode of my video class. In this class I will discuss an important effect in solid state physics, and that is called Hall effect. Hall effect was discovered by American scientist Edwin Hall very long back in 1879. Hall effect can be defined as the formation of a voltage when a magnetic field is applied perpendicular to a current, and this developed voltage will be perpendicular to both magnetic field as well as the current. That is shown in this diagram. You can see this is a material taken in the form of a parallelepiped, and there is a current in the positive x direction. These are the x, y, z directions I have taken. So a current flows in the positive x direction, and a magnetic field Bz and a magnetic field Bz is applied in the positive z direction. That is shown by this circle and a dot here. Dot usually means it is away from the plane of the paper, or it is away from the plane of the screen, that is towards you. In such a situation, a voltage will be developed in the y direction. That voltage is called a Hall voltage. Now let us come to the theory of Hall effect. Let us assume that this is a metal in which the free charges are free electrons. So electrons are moving. So electrons are movable charges. So if current is in the positive x direction, electrons since electron uh, since the charge of the electron is negative, electrons are moving in the negative direction. So charge of the electron is uh, charge of the electron is negative, and velocity of the electron is also negative. This is the Vx is the average velocity of the free electrons. It is also called a drift velocity of the free electrons that we have studied in the Drude-Lorentz theory. This Hall effect can be explained by the principle of force acting on a moving charge by a magnetic field. It is given by magnetic Lorentz force. It is given by this expression. This is the magnetic Lorentz force Q into V cross B. That is a force on a moving charge moving with a velocity v. Now here we can take q is equal to minus e because we are considering electrons, and they are moving in the opposite direction. So velocity will be minus vx into I, and magnetic field is bz into k because magnetic field is applied in the positive z direction. And we can evaluate this v cross b using the formula of determinant of the 3 by 3 matrix. In the first row you have to put ijk, in the second row you have to put components of the vector b, which are minus vx 0 0, and in the third row you have to put the components of b, which is equal to 0 0 bz, and after evaluation we get a force as minus e vx bz j. So force is in the j direction, that is force is in the y direction, and because of this negative sign, you can see that the force is in the downward direction. The force is in the negative y direction or in the downward direction. That is shown in this diagram. So the electrons experience a force in the downward direction, and they move towards the downward direction until this lower surface is reached. So because of this deflection, the lower side becomes more and more negatively charged, and since the entire material is electrically neutral, the opposite side becomes positively charged, and there is a voltage developed in between upper surface and lower surface, and that is called the Hall voltage. And simultaneously there will be electric field also. Electric field into this thickness will be equal to voltage. That is the relation between voltage and electric field. Voltage or potential difference is the work done to shift a unit charge from one point to the other. Force on unit charge is electric field EH. So EH into distance, that is the work done. So EH into thickness will be the Hall voltage. When electrons are going from right to left with the speed Vx, it is experiencing a force in the downward direction and a lower side is getting negatively charged, and simultaneously when lower side is more and more negatively charged, the Hall field will be there. That Hall field is in the downward direction. So electron will experience a force in the upward direction due to this Hall field, because charge of the electron is minus E. So minus E into EH will be the force that will be in the upward direction. So an equilibrium will be reached when force in the upward direction is equal to force in the downward direction. So electrons will be flowing from left to right without any alteration. So equilibrium will be reached when upward force is equal to downward force, and in that case electrons will move straight in this direction. So when upward force due to Hall field is equal to downward force due to magnetic field, electrons will go from right to left in this direction without any deflection. So we can use that condition to determine the Hall voltage or Hall field. So that is this calculation. The upward force is E into EH and downward force is E Vx Bz that you can see here. So in equilibrium they must be equal. So from that you get a Vx is equal to, here it is Vx is equal to EH by Bz. EH is the Hall field, Bz is the applied magnetic field. The formula for current density is Ne into average velocity that we have seen in the case of Drude-Lorentz theory. N is the number of free electrons per unit volume, or we can say electron concentration, free electron concentration. So we substitute for Vx, then you will get a EH by Bz there. Now we can solve for this Hall field EH. So that will be 1 by Ne times Jx Bz. So this Hall field or Hall voltage is proportional to current density as well as applied magnetic field. Hall field is proportional to current density and magnetic field. So we can put a constant there and write it as an equality relation, and this constant is called a Hall coefficient RH. So by comparing these two equations, you can see that this Hall coefficient is equal to 1 by Ne by comparing these equations, so that I have written here. From the second equation, we can see that RH is equal to EH divided by Jx Bz. So you can measure Hall voltage, and then you can calculate Hall field, and for the non-current and magnetic field, then you can calculate a Hall coefficient that will be equal to 1 by Ne. So n can be calculated. So you will come to know about number of free electrons per unit volume in a metal, which is also called electron concentration of a metal. So that is one application of Hall effect, determination of charge carrier concentration. Another very important application is determination of the sign of the charge carriers. That is, if positive charges are moving from left to right in this direction, you will get the same current density. You will get the same direction for the current density. In that case, charge will be positive. In that case, the charge carriers are positive and velocity also will be positive. So you have to put here positive charge and a positive velocity here. Then there are two positive signs. So this is positive, and this is also positive. So there will be a negative sign here. So finally you get a same expression with a negative sign here. So but in this case, positive charges are moving in the downward direction, because force is in the downward direction because of this negative sign. So positive charge will be deposited on the downside and negative charge will be on the upper side, and an electric field will be from downward to upward direction, or Hall voltage is reversed. So by determining the sign of the Hall voltage, we can find whether the positive charges are moving or negative charges are moving inside a conductor. That's a very great advantage, because by finding the direction of the current, we are not able to know that whether it is electrons flowing inside the conductor or positive charges are flowing inside the conductor. So this is a sure indication of that. So by studying Hall effect, it is found that in some materials like cadmium, holes are responsible for the positive charges are responsible for conduction by finding the sign of the Hall voltage. Especially in the study of semiconductors, we can determine many things about the nature of charge carriers which are responsible for conduction. So that is another application of a Hall effect. We can determine the nature of the charge carriers producing the current in a material. Now I will discuss very briefly about mobility and Hall angle. We have already seen in Rode-Lorentz theory that the drift velocity is proportional to E. So we may write drift velocity is equal to some constant into electric field. That constant is called mobility of the charge carriers. If you put Ex equal to 1, then you will get Vx equal to mu. So that is a definition of mobility. Mobility is the velocity per unit electric field. Now this is the expression for current density. N is the concentration of the charge carriers, and a substitute for Vx. Vx is equal to mu into Ex. So you will get a Jx equal to Ne mu into Ex. But we know that from Ohm's law J equal to sigma E. So you substitute that if in this equation, then you will get a sigma into Ex equal to Ne mu into Ex, cancelling E on both sides, and solving for mu, you will get a mu is equal to 1 by Ne into sigma. And we already know that this 1 by Ne is nothing but a Hall coefficient. So Hall coefficient multiplied by conductivity will give you the mobility of the charge carriers. So that is also another application of a Hall effect. You can find the mobility by finding the Hall coefficient. You just multiply Hall coefficient with the conductivity of the material, then you will get a mobility. A quantity which is used in some calculations is called a Hall angle. Hall angle phi is defined by this equation. This is a Hall field divided by applied field. This Ex is the applied field in the x direction, and due to that applied field there is a current density Jx. So the ratio of that Hall field developed by applied field is sometimes called tan of a Hall angle, and from these equations you can find that that Hall angle is tan inverse of mu into applied magnetic field.